the ground, but I ain't getting any higher.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for downloading the Voice of Bedlam podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Santoro. We got a great show planned for you guys today. Now, why don't we get to the co-host so we can save my injured vocal cords just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little.
Kick things over first with Devil John. John, what's going on, man?
What's going on? Well, I took a trip out today to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where the good old Amish people are, and was kind of bored to tears, kind of watching a bunch of old people walking around looking
like
at knickknacks and kettle corn. But anywho, how about
Amish
you?
Paradise. What's going on, Sean?
I'm good. It feels like I haven't been here in forever, which I haven't been. But it's a good day to actually be back here on the show because there's a lot to talk about.
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
But we also have our good friend from across the pond on the show, Mr. Sam Stock. Sam, how are you doing, sir?
Good. I've been busy. I found out last night who I'm fighting in my charity boxing match on Saturday.
Oh, yeah?
£760 for cancer research now, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm feeling confident for Saturday night, so I mean it's gonna be a big night. There's over 1,000 people going, I think.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Now, Sam, when you said over 750 pounds, me being American, I was like, he's fighting somebody that's 750 pounds? I'm just stupid, so.
And see, I was about to say, we America's also a little bit backwards because we still try to use this standard scale thing instead of metric, just like, I don't know, the rest of the world.
Yeah, but there's no need to change it now, though. I ain't trying to relearn math.
Dude, metric is actually a lot better. I'm just saying.
Could you imagine though?
Plus, there's that 64th of an inch that's different.
Like whatever the meter, like the yards to meters would be like. Oh, that was a great pass for 17 meters.
Yeah, I mean,
a pass from Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
we would go crazy. We I don't even know how far that is.
Right. Okay. But
so you just
meters are basically the same. I think it's like 0.97.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they are pretty close, but like we'd have to relearn the whole language of the game overnight.
Yeah, like I said, it's a minute. When I did mechanical stuff, it was usually like around like a 64th. I think
that's what I'm saying. Like I know more. Like I want get me a 7/8 socket. I hate when it's like metric.
Oh, I only use metric because like when you work
you can't only use metric. It depends on what what you're fixing is.
Dude, everything that I've ever worked on in cars has always been metric.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've never had a car that I've worked on. Well, I've had Jeep, so I have a Dodge. Well, a Dodge product, I guess you could say, because I have a Jeep, but because Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep.
All right, but let's get back on task.
I know, right?
And before we get to today's daily breakdown, we're gonna take a second and tell you guys about our latest sponsor, JokerChoker.com.
Yes, JokerChoker.com is the home of Joker Choker Pro Football Pick'em Poker, a new style of football pick'ems that will bring strategy to the game of poker, which also mixes in football pick'em. So it's free to play, it's easy to play, and but if you have good strategy in these games, guess what? You're gonna win.
Definitely takes strategy to win. Now, the way it works, each week you pick your game winners and you try to build the best poker hand from the winning team's cards. So basically, each team is assigned a card, be it a 3 of spades or a king of diamonds. The winning team that you pick, you also get their poker card, and you have to simultaneously make the best poker hand possible, and over $500 can be won. So you guys have got to jump on to Joker Poker every week.
Sign up for your free account at JokerChoker.com and use promo code BEDLAM, just like the show, for bonus coins to get you started.
That's right. So make sure you head over to JokerChoker.com and use that promo code BEDLAM. Get signed up today. I did it. It seems like a lot of fun, and we're going to keep things moving with today's Daily Breakdown. And now we're going to start things off with the most popular trending topic going on right now. Now, I'm kind of beat up and tired of this whole thing already. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't really want to talk about this on the show, but we kind of have to. And that is Colin Kaepernick not standing up for the national anthem in not standing up during the
national anthem.
There you go. Thank you very much. Now, before we really get into this, let's talk about the facts. Now, before last Friday's preseason game with the Green Bay Packers, the San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick refused to stand up while the American national anthem was played. Now, this caused an all-out media uproar. If you were on Twitter or Facebook, things were going crazy, and it was. Yeah. We're gonna get more into the story, but everything I saw was just extremely racist, to be honest.
Yeah,
but
pretty much.
Basically, when questioned in an interview by NFL media Steve Weich, Colin Kaepernick is quoted as saying, "I'm not going to stand up to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color. To me, this is bigger than football, and it would be selfish on my part to look the other way. There are bodies in the street and people getting paid leave and getting away with murder." End quote.
Yeah. And
now, go ahead, John.
Oh yeah, just to kind of elaborate, I'm going to quote the end of the third verse, which basically,
he made reference to.
He made reference to, but it clearly says that it's okay to kill black people. But here is the verse, and I quote: "No refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave, and the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph doth wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave." End quote.
All right. So as I said earlier, a whole lot of media uproar. Now, my grandfather was in the military.
Okay.
My father was in the military.
Okay.
My absolute best friend is in the military.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends in
and
the military.
I respect them all.
My grandfather served in Korea.
I respect them all, and I respect the troops, but I'm sorry, I do not disagree with Colin Kaepernick. Now, I didn't even hear of this part of the third stanza or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I never came across that part. But just from
That's because they only do the first one at
just
events.
For his statement alone, I mean, what he is saying is true. Now, granted, it is not the best career move, but more props to him for it. I'm sorry. I know most people have a different opinion than this. I do not hate America. I am glad that I live in America, but I do acknowledge that there are problems. Now, Sean, you were telling me about a political cartoon you saw.
Yeah, the political cartoon was two pictures. One on the top was Donald Trump speaking to a crowd of people, and it was a speech bubble that said, "America is not great." Everyone cheered, applauded, and agreed, saying yes. The bottom half was Colin Kaepernick saying the exact same thing. America is not great, and then that same crowd of people booing him. Now, Donald Trump says that we need to make America great again, which means that America is not great now. So when Donald Trump says it, people cheer and applaud and agree with him. Colin Kaepernick does it, and those same group of people boo him. So hypocrisy?
No, what it is, and it's convoluted logic. And if people don't know what convoluted is, I'm not surprised, because most of the people are they prance around thinking that they're intelligent, but they don't sharpen their tools enough to keep those tools effective. So yes, get a dictionary out, get your smartphone out, look up convoluted, because convoluted logic.
Devil John for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? I speak from facts, because you know what? I don't come. I grew up with religion and respect for the military and people, but I also come from a philosophy of you respect the CEO as much as the janitor in every business. So for me to sit here and I also and I stand behind the man because he doesn't condone what's in the lyrics, which I wish a lot more people would do, especially with
I wish people would read into things more. Yes.
the popular music that's going on right now, and then they wonder why heroin's a big problem. They wonder why promethazine and
prescription drugs
and
are
all
a major
let's
issue
just say prescription drugs triumph everything as the major leading cause of death in this country. And if you look at the popular music, you got popular artists, which I'm not going to mention their name because I don't know if they listen to the show and they want to come after me, because quite honestly, I don't got no money to be defending myself. But but honestly, you can just turn on the radio and then you can hear a song about them popping lean and Molly and all these other Xannies. Like "Welcome to the Xanny Family" was a song I heard. I was like, are you serious?
But
like,
how does this tie into Kaepernick?
How does it? Because he's standing up against slavery and the oppression of black people, and rightfully so, because as you can read with your own eyes, those lyrics do exist, and that means that was a part of the song. Just because you cut out a verse or two from a song does not negate the overall purpose of a song. So if, let's say, I write a song about killing everybody, right? But then, like, in the first 3 verses, I'm talking about how everything's all happy-go-lucky and it just sounds nice, and then before I get into the manic, psychotic, sociopathic, approach of trying to get rid of everybody. But then I'm like, and then everybody's like, no, John, get rid of that 3rd verse because everything else sounds gravy. But then if it was already known that verse existed and they made you would be a flip-flopper, in the sense of living with this, convoluted logic, and I keep saying it, but that's what's going on right now. People are attaching themselves to whatever they can to justify their ignorant actions, okay? Now, when I say ignorant actions, it just means that we just don't have enough information to move forward, all right? It's okay to admit that you're ignorant sometimes, people. Stop.
Well, no, I think everyone should admit. I have no problem. It might take me some convincing, but I have no problem. If I don't understand something, I have no problem saying it. I think that is more of a man, because then I can be educated on it instead of walking around ignorant. But wait, let's take a second here.
Yeah.
Now, Sam, you're not from America, and we haven't really heard much from you yet. And I also want to throw in one little tidbit before we throw you in. I don't know how much you know about the Star Spangled Banner, but do you know where the music, the instrumental part of the Star Spangled Banner comes from, Sam?
No, I don't know about where the music comes from, but
well, let me tell you real quick.
Okay.
It actually comes from. It's actually an old British drinking song.
Correct.
That's actually what it is, and that melody and everything has existed way before the Star Spangled Banner. But it's actually an English drinking song that the words are set to. But I just thought that was funny. But Sam, why don't you go on?
Well, I was going to say, as far as everything with Colin Kaepernick, this is clearly a well thought out thing that he's considered for a while, and that came across in his interview afterwards when he made his point really well. And I've heard quite a lot of other people who have talked about this say that their instant reaction was anger, and like they thought, how can you do this? It's just disrespectful. But then after hearing him in his interview with Steve Wyche afterwards, people have seen his point, and he does have a fair point. And a lot of the people that have complained or protested about saying that what he did was wrong are also the same people that would say that about they want their freedom of speech. And
absolutely,
that's basically all this guy has done.
Yeah, it was 150%, or however high you want to go. Colin Kaepernick has every right to do what he did, and he's already said that he will continue to do the same thing. Yeah. And he is 150,000% within his right to do so.
Now, according to Pat McManaman, a writer for ESPN, go look him up. Hall of Fame running back and social activist Jim Brown is now chiming in. Jim Brown is quoted as saying, "He's within his rights and he's telling the truth as he sees it. I am with him 100%, end quote." Now, Jim Brown definitely played before our
Yeah,
era.
and he stood up with Muhammad Ali.
That's what absolutely. Now, a lot of people have, that's the one thing I never understood, right? Muhammad Ali recently died. Also, all I heard was a bunch of racist terms most of the time when that happened. But Muhammad Ali stood alongside of Jim Brown during a very controversial time in American history with the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about in earlier shows about how O.J. Simpson refused to do this.
Yeah.
But Jim Brown stood up with Muhammad Ali, and also the other big thing that happened was when the two black Olympians placed in the Olympics, when they raised the fist.
Yeah.
That was very controversial. And Jim
But that's a
Brown,
silent protest.
Oh no, I completely agree with
Yeah.
you. Jim Brown is looked at as a respected man, is what I'm trying to say. Muhammad Ali, not so much. I think that's because he's a Muslim, but not so much respected. Jim Brown is a respected civil rights leader. All people love Jim Brown. He was one of the greatest running backs to ever do it, and he is also agreeing with Colin Kaepernick.
What I think it's kind of irritating to me is that the most of the people that are against people speaking their mind and exercising their rights are the people that live so convolutedly that they'll be all right. And I'll give you an example. Okay, it'll be the person that sits there and talks about how people don't need to be on welfare and that they don't feel like they need any welfare for people, but then they'd be like, "Where's my social security check?"
Absolutely, which is all a part of socialism. Which
So it's
everyone
like
is against.
so you want to pick and choose which socialist things you participate in. I was like, but that's not how democracy works, okay? So so for all you people out there, just educate yourself a little bit, okay? Just take some time.
And just to add on to what John just said, in the same token, those exact same people that John is talking about are also pointing out the fact that, Colin Kaepernick makes, I think his base
19 million.
his base salary is like 12 million, and he's got more money coming to him or whatever.
Yeah, what does that even have to do?
Yeah, it has nothing to do with anything.
But they also think that Colin Kaepernick was representing himself, which he wasn't at all. Colin Kaepernick was speaking out for people that don't have a voice in this society.
Everyone's always saying that an athlete or a singer, you'll hear all the music with the drugs and everything. They have such a audience. People are like, and they're like, why can't they talk about something positive? But this is really a fact. This is a problem. There are far more black people in prison. Black people tend to get longer sentences, and there's a whole lot of them being killed by the police. People are like, oh, what's a whole lot? I'm sorry, one unjust killing is too much. Who was it that said it is better for one guilty man to go free than one innocent man to be oppressed? Who was it that said that?
I don't recall, honestly, but
All right.
honestly,
the fact that Colin Kaepernick, this just ties into what you guys were saying. The fact that Colin Kaepernick has money has no bearing on what he did in any way, shape, or form. Because just because he has money doesn't mean his opinion doesn't matter.
Yes, absolutely. And that's also another problem I have with it. The real issue here is, first of all, that people would say he's playing the black card, and then on top of that, he's rich. And
you're just playing the white card by, poo-pooing him.
But did you hear about this Rodney Harrison? Now, a lot of things, we're talking about people that were more in favor of Kaepernick because that is the minority, but the majority is definitely dead against Kaepernick, is how it seems. The Giants did somewhat of a protest when they played the national anthem the next day. Every single player and coach, I think, stood in a straight line on the white, real at attention, trying to make a statement. But other people have started to see it a little bit more Kaepernick's way as well. And there is something that was trending on Twitter for a little bit. I believe it was hashtag Veterans for Kaepernick. Now,
for Cap, I guess. I don't know.
No, it was Veterans for Kaepernick.
It was?
That's
That's a long hashtag.
Yeah, and I shared one of the tweets, and it's also on our Facebook. And what it is a soldier saying how he volunteered to defend this country, but he didn't want to defend a bunch of murderous cops. Now, I paraphrased that end part, but let's see if we can.
To bring this into what needs to be done, and it just really growing up black family as my own, I got to, fortunately see a lot of things that people don't get to see, and I also unfortunately seen a lot of things that we're now, really just starting to see more of, because, cell phone videos are easy to capture nowadays. So, cops beating up kids back in the day, it wasn't recorded and it wasn't talked about because, it doesn't. If you don't have video, it didn't exist.
No, it doesn't matter if they do, because Rodney King was completely on video and all those guys walked until he got to the civil level. But let me go on to here. Baltic Avenue, at Baltic Avenue, starts out hashtag Veterans for Kaepernick, because I didn't defend a country where police brutality is swept under the rug.
Yeah.
Now, this is from a veteran. He tweeted out a picture of him in Afghanistan with his service weapon.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you really got to think about this. This is true. This man is standing up and he's saying, I see a problem with something. This doesn't mean he hates the nation. If I see a problem with myself,
you say something.
Please identify it nicely, I would hope, so I can start to work on it.
Yeah.
And that's all he's doing. He is standing up for equality.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. I think, go ahead, John, but we're going to move on from this. We got to get to football.
There's one thing that psychology,
Sam too. We'll go to Sam
psychology teaches us this, all right? If you are silent, all right, and you do nothing when you see something that is
changes.
wrong, no, not only does nothing change, but it means that you condone that behavior. If you don't,
if you're enabling
it's
it,
the same thing.
you're enabling it. So, for all my brothers, sisters, of human race, open your eyes and see that you're no better than the person next to you, the person behind you, and anyone else around you. We are all the same, and we need to start treating each other with that respect. And if and for all you religious people, if you actually practiced what you preached, we would not have
don't
nearly
generalize
that.
all religious people. Some people.
Yeah, but
come on, you can't generalize everyone.
But
we're just being what we're saying. We're against.
But if people are going to use tools to generalize Muslims as all terrorists, then we're got to use the same tools against those people.
I completely absolutely not. No, I think we need to set the example and we need to make the change, which I think Colin Kaepernick is trying to make. But Sam, let's let Sam get in, and then we're going to move on. Sam, what do you got to say, man?
Well, I was going to say, if the situation and the roles were completely reversed, and the black people and white people, that role was completely reversed, and it was the white people that were oppressed and that had over the years been treated in this way and racially abused, how he's saying that black people have been, would you want to stand up for your country's national anthem if you felt that it was racist towards white people?
Absolutely not.
No.
I hear. Yep.
Because I wouldn't stand up for the national anthem in that situation.
I still don't eat at Chick-fil-A because of their actions.
Yeah, what was that? The gay marriage? They won't.
Yeah, honestly,
something to do with that.
It's like you're a company. You shouldn't even be getting into social issues.
All right, but we're gonna get out of social issues and tell you guys about Podbean. Now, Podbean publishes our podcast. You guys can hear us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, pretty much anywhere podcasts are found, and that's all made possible through Podbean. Now, if you go to podbean.com/r/bedlam, you can get a free month of unlimited bandwidth podcast hosting. Now, that's podbean.com/r/bedlam. Now, I have heard a couple concerns. Somebody was trying to use the link and it couldn't get through.
Yeah.
I believe it does work now, but if you run into that problem, go over to voiceofbedlam.com, and there is a banner ad right at the top of the page. Click on that. You'll get the same deal. You don't need a promo code or anything if you click on the link, and you will get a month free of unlimited bandwidth podcast hosting. With that, let's move on to the next story of the Daily Breakdown. Hopefully a little bit quicker of a pace. Romo out, Prescott in. Referencing my article, Is This the End for Tony Romo? Found at that same voiceofbedlam.com.
Most definitely it is.
All right, now let me get into this real quick. On Saturday, head coach Jason Garrett announced Tony Romo sustained a back injury during the third play.
Hold on a second. Yeah, we got to go back. Sorry. ahead of time lap. Sorry. 3, 2, 1.
Sustained a back injury during the third play of last Thursday's preseason game. A hit delivered by Seattle Seahawks Cliff Averill. Now, it looks like this might be the last hit Romo takes for a while. They're saying he's going to be out minimum 10 weeks, but I think this is going to send him to the bench indefinitely.
Hit me, Romo, no more times.
Is it a minimum of 10 weeks? Because initially I heard 6 to 10. So are they saying?
No,
yeah,
I heard.
Are they
10 weeks.
saying more 10 weeks? Because I mean that's
my report I got from.
That is 2/3 of the season.
Yeah,
right there.
I got the report from ABC News is where I saw the 10 weeks.
Yeah,
So this totally changes the whole landscape of the NFC East, just like it did last year.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'll be the first to say it. Romo's had a better career than most give him credit for. Now, since he came out of Eastern Illinois in 2003, he was an undrafted rookie free agent. All right, now Romo's been to 4 Pro Bowls and has thrown 247 touchdowns to only 117 interceptions in a 155 game career.
And he has one playoff win, guys.
So, Sam,
He does.
I really see this. Now, I really see this as where, Prescott's really going to come in. I mean, in his preseason play, he's really been turning some heads. When he was in relief for Romo last week, he led the team on an 81-yard drive that he capped off with a 17-yard touchdown to Witten. What's your breakdown on Prescott?
Well, Dak Prescott I don't understand why he went in the 4th round for starters, because I had a 2nd round grade on Dak Prescott going into this draft, and I know he did have some off-field issues, and he's been in trouble in the past.
The DUI, right?
The DUI, and there was rumors of other incidents before the DUI, which details of were a bit sketchy, so we won't go into them. But I mean, he was one of the most talented quarterbacks, and I don't know if you can remember back to January. In January, absolutely nobody was talking about Carson Wentz, and it was Jared Goff and Dak Prescott as the top 2 quarterbacks in the draft.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, Carson Wentz came along, and Dak Prescott got forgotten, and Paxton Lynch moved up, and then Dak Prescott ends up in the 4th round, and suddenly he looks like the best of all the quarterbacks.
That's a fall far. What do you got, John?
Yeah, well, honestly, I have a lot of friends in my I call it my paid league that are Eagles fans, and I asked them, I was like, how does it feel to have wasted a 1st round pick on a player that you won't even see play this year?
We can't say it's a waste yet.
Yeah, it is.
You
If he's not starting day 1, that is a waste of a 1st round pick.
Hell no, it's not. What if he wins 3 Super Bowls in 10 years? Who cares?
We don't know what
Wait,
Carson
I think we
Wentz-
lost Sam. Did we lose Sam?
No, Sam's here.
Sam, you there?
He should be there.
No, I'm still here.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he's still there.
Still here.
But like I said, you forget who you're talking about. You're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles.
John, believe me. I mean, I had this argument with Colin. We don't know what Carson Wentz is, and the Eagles gave up a lot.
He's a
to go
D2
get
guy.
him.
Yeah, we know that much.
I know that. But as an Eagles fan, I
Couldn't get a D1.
I have to at least give the kid a chance, because he might end up being a franchise quarterback.
All right, I'm going to ask
and
you a
I don't
question.
really have any other choice.
I'm going to ask you a question, okay? All right. Let's say, for the sakes of argument, you have an Audi, okay? Let's just say an Audi, all right? Because we all know that they're pretty
car
finicky.
or a belly button?
The car.
Oh, okay.
The car.
Okay.
I kind of thought the belly was
An Audi, okay? You own an Audi, okay?
Okay.
Now, there's 2 people that want to work on your car, okay? The certified Audi tech, and then the kid that's fresh out of tech school, okay? Who are you going to trust with your car?
Not true, though, because
Who are you gonna trust with your
you're
car?
saying the kid or the experienced one, correct?
Yes.
That's what okay, no, they're both rookies. They're both still
But you're
Just
talking about a
because
D1
Carson
rookie
Wentz
and a
doesn't
D2
have-
rookie.
But a
A
rookie is a
D2
rookie.
did not go up against
Oh,
D1 talent.
No, I agree with you there completely. But in your analogy, I think you gave a little too much to the Division One. I mean, let's not forget Ryan Leaf. Let's not forget Tavares Jackson, Jamarcus Russell, maybe RG3. I mean, there's plenty of people who were D1 talents and did nothing. Now, if the Giants didn't have Manning and I wouldn't have liked the Carson Wentz move, but even if I got stuck with it like Sean did, you have been against that from day one. I do.
Yeah,
respect
but do you trust somebody that doesn't even have D1 experience with your team?
No, but what I'm saying is no, not in the first year, but who knows? I mean, Tony Romo's never won a Super Bowl, but I mean, he's an undrafted rookie free agent who's been to 4 Pro Bowls, and if it wasn't for injuries and a questionable Des Bryant catch, they might have gone to the Super Bowl. Just because the kid's a D2 player doesn't mean he's squat. It doesn't mean he's crap. I wouldn't have been happy.
Have you seen him playing?
But I mean, apparently the scouts thought he was good enough to go in the first round. The big argument.
Yeah, but I mean, in the preseason now, like, have you seen him throwing the ball? He's absolutely terrible. He looks very unsure on his feet.
Well, he's coming out of
he's also a rookie, and I gotta give, as an Eagles fan, I have no choice but to just give the kid his time because he is our future, at least for now.
You hope so.
You hope.
And I was against the drafting of Carson Wentz simply because I knew the Eagles were going to have to give up a lot to get him. They don't have a first round pick next year, and I also said that because of Carson Wentz going to a D2 school, he's not going up against elite college talent, which means a jump to the NFL is going to be that much harder for him.
Exactly. So why would you gamble on that?
I'm not the one making the
I know, but then why would you stand behind it?
No, but once he's there, what do you want to do? Cut your first round pick?
I can't do anything about Carson Wentz is now a Philadelphia Eagle.
So what I
have to go. I mean, I may not have agreed with the decision being made, but what choice do I have now? I'm just in a sit and wait and see what happens mode. Because
just don't sit there in the Star Spangled Banner.
Carson Wentz is going to be our quarterback going forward. Who knows for how long? But Sam, what do you got?
I was going to say, I can totally get that because I totally disagreed with drafting a kicker in the second round for the Bucks. But now that we've done that, what can I do?
Exactly.
Well, you guys are hoping that he's the next Martin Gramatica.
Who cares?
I'm not gonna sit here and just kill the pick over and over because I mean I did that for a couple of weeks after the draft.
you can't unchange what's already been done, right?
Yeah, but like my whole thing is if you're going into a draft board, all right, are you going to pull the trigger on the D2 guy that's untested with D1 talent?
Everyone agrees with you on that fact.
Like so, it's like.
I said the same thing. I said the same thing, but I don't.
Because you could have that. You could have had that.
Now, but John, I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice now, but to let Carson Wentz play football.
Although I watched Sam Bradford play against with that last preseason game, I forget who it was against.
Andy, he looked good.
He looked actually pretty decent.
Yeah. And at the same time,
Carson Wentz looks so.
But he also looked good last year against Green Bay, and we all saw how.
But you have Chase Daniels, who was still throwing the ball pretty well.
Can the host get a word in?
Sorry.
Okay. Now, I don't even remember what my train of thought was anymore. Oh, but I was saying we all agree with you. And I said if the Giants made the pick, I wouldn't have liked it. But just because he's a Division II player doesn't mean the man can't win 5 Super Bowls. Tom Brady was taken in the 6th round, 199th overall?
Round.
But he went to Eastern Michigan, right?
7th round pick, 199th overall.
No, he went to Michigan.
He went to Michigan? I thought for some reason he was in Eastern Michigan.
Was it a 6th round or a 7th round pick?
That was a 6th round, 199 overall.
Yeah, but still D1. He
He
still played D1 ball.
But all right, we're gonna switch things up.
What about Joe Flacco played Division II, so did Sam.
Thank you. I see Sam's the scout guy. He's got names for you. I know they're there. Say them again, Sam, the D2 quarterbacks.
Doug Williams, Phil Simms, Steve McNair, and Joe Flacco.
How did I forget Phil Simms?
Taken in the first round.
So yeah, but you know, out of all the years of football, we came up with 4. You know,
but still, that doesn't
4. Yeah, exactly. So the success rate for somebody from D2 to the pros is much smaller than what a D1 quarterback would be today.
The Eagles took a chance on a Division II guy, and hopefully he pans out. That's all I can really say as an Eagles fan.
Honestly, I think what happened.
At the end of the day, the talent he's playing against only matters to a certain extent. If he's got all the skills, he can read the coverages, he can audible at the line, and he knows how to play the position.
He can learn how to play in the pros.
But it's a different speed than he's used to.
But it's a different. So you're putting Division I on a pedestal. I'm sorry. There is plenty of Division I bust. It's a different speed that.
Who watches the D2? Who watches D2 championships?
But this doesn't.
I watched every snap Carson Wentz took last year. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying, who watches the D2 championships? Who watches the
Scouts.
national
The
championships?
scouts.
You know,
The scouts. The scouts.
Yeah, exactly.
Your
So-
fans don't matter. He said Phil Simms. Phil Simms coming out of what was it? Eastern Kentucky, I believe. And I mean, the dude took us to 2 Super Bowls. One Jeff Hostetler helped with. They won both. And I mean, Joe Flacco.
He's got 2.
Yeah. No, he doesn't. He has
No, he's got 1. That's right. Yeah.
But Trent Dilfer would be the one for
Yeah,
the
that's
first
right.
Ravens. But let's kick things back over to Sean and talk about what's going on with Joey Bosa. Now, you've done a couple posts about this Bosa situation up at voiceofbedlam.com. What's going on?
Well, it took about a month, but Joey Bosa is finally a San Diego Charger. He's finally
Officially.
wearing that electric blue. And well, the problems that were arising with this back and forth type thing was that there was offset language in the contract that said that the Chargers were not going to have to pay him. They were only going to have to pay the difference if they cut him before the 4-year deal was over. And he re-signed with another team. That's now out the door. He signed a contract for $25.8. I think that's all guaranteed. 4-year deal and $17 million in signing bonuses.
17, up front.
Yeah,
17 million up front. Yeah.
Now, speaking about the offset language, just to clarify some more, basically, if you were to be cut and before your contract was up, this is a common thing in rookies. This was Marcus Mariota's problem last year. If you were to be cut and let's say he got cut and he went over to the Seahawks, now the Chargers are no longer in debt to him that money if he gets picked up by the Seahawks.
They would owe him the difference between the 2 contracts between the 2 teams. That was, I think, the new language that was in the in the contract before.
But and the way he wants, that's what offset language is. The way he wants it is where now they got to pay him no matter what, and that's what he got. He got the highest signing bonus of a rookie of all time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he also got the biggest rookie contract in Chargers history.
Yeah, what's funny about that is it's not the first time the Chargers have had to deal with rookies holding out. Eli Manning, LaDainian Tomlinson, Sean Merriman, a couple of Quentin Jammer.
Nobody wants to play for them Bolts.
Yeah, and especially now they look terrible.
And what's also part of this story, which I actually didn't get into on the article, but San Diego is actually now in the middle of a I don't know what you want to call it, but they're possibly moving. I mean, everyone knows about that already.
Yes.
And Joey Bosa was supposed to be kind of like, well, hold on a second. We're gonna get Joey Bosa,
the poster boy.
Yeah, the poster boy for San Diego.
And he didn't want to be there.
And he's supposed to help them keep the team in San Diego. Otherwise, they were talking about moving to L.A.
Yeah. And I mean, that's basically why Jared Goff went to the Rams. They want to sell jerseys. But let's kick things over back to the NFC East and talk about an article I just published earlier today. Will Beatty reunites with the Giants. Now, you guys can go check that out over at voiceofbedlam.com. But basically, due to a whole lot of injuries, I mean, Will Beatty tore his pec in the first day of weight training of 2015, landing him with the designated to return IR tag. Now, Will Beatty also, a couple seasons before that, tore the ACL. Now, after the Giants' 2011 Super Bowl win, Will Beatty got a nice size contract. Now, I don't have the exact figures on it. It was very hard to find because that deal has been terminated, and now he has signed a new deal. But now, according to Adam Kaplan of ESPN, they're reporting that Beatty signed a 1-year deal worth $1 million guaranteed and $750,000 in incentives. Beatty was acquired by the Giants with the 60th overall pick in the 2009 draft. Now, he's coming out of the University of Connecticut. He played in 82 games for Big Blue, starting 63 of them at the left tackle position. Now, everybody's going to get a chance to chime in on this, but I got to talk about Big Blue a little bit. Now, I agree with the move. I think it is both good for team and player. Now, Will Beatty does get some of the short end of the stick because, I mean, he was making a whole lot more money and now he's making a whole lot less. But Will Beatty wasn't exactly getting too many calls. There was some chats with the Jaguars, but that fell through for whatever reason. And he had...
Because they got Miles Jack and a whole bunch of others.
Well, no,
now.
but he was waived before the fiscal year even started.
Oh,
so
okay.
he was available on the first day of free agency.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's not like he got cut later and didn't get a good shot.
Correct.
So nobody was picking him up. He's back on a team. He has a chance to resurrect a dying career. And the Giants, that right side of the line is terrible. Before we get to the right side of the line, let's get into some of the gossip about this story. Now, when Will Beatty was coming back, I believe it was week 10 or 9, he was trying to make his comeback in practice. The Giants drafted Eric Flowers in the first round of the 2015 draft. All right, now, when he was originally drafted, it was thought that he was the left tackle of the future, was going to start out on the right. Now, I actually, during that draft, I actually got to sit down a little bit with Will Beatty, and I was talking to him, and he made it very clear. I said something to him, like, what's going on? You guys got to open up them run holes. You know what I mean? And he said, which is true, he goes, oh, no. That's what we got Flowers for. He said, Flowers open up the run hole. I'm protecting the blind side. And that's absolutely true. Will Beatty is not really suited to play the right side. He is not a powerhouse blocker. All right? But the Giants, during his return with Eric Flowers, have spent so many weeks at left. They were like, no, we're not moving him. Rumor has it that's why Will Beatty elected to get the surgery at such an awkward time. Now, he could have got the surgery when the injury first happened, or he could have got the injury at the end of the season. He said he was going to get the injury at the end of the season. That's why they hit him with the temporary tag.
Okay.
But rumor has it, when they told him he was going to have to play the right, he went for the surgery against team's orders and got it done to shut down, which led to his cut. So now the question is, where will Will Beatty play? He is better suited for the left, but why move the left tackle of the future? And the right side of the line is atrocious. Last year it was Marshall Newhouse and John Jerry. Marshall Newhouse is responsible for the broken collarbone of Aaron Rodgers while playing with the Packers. John Jerry from the Miami Dolphins, part of that whole Richie Incognito scandal. Now, Marshall Newhouse, I'm sorry, is atrocious, all right? So Will Beatty, is he going to be willing to play the right? And Sam, I want to ask you this because you could probably give us the best breakdown of an old lineman. He is a technician. He plays on the left. He's got good feet, not a lot of power. Guys like that usually don't fare too well on the right, correct?
Well, yeah, I think part of the problem here is, to be honest, it goes back to that draft because I think Eric Flowers just isn't a left tackle. I don't know.
He's a right.
He's a right tackle, and I think trying to play him at left tackle doesn't work because he's not a mobile guy. He's too big, and he has quite poor hips. He doesn't really bend very well and doesn't sink low enough, and that exposes him to a speed rusher who can